Hey guys, before we get Kara on here, I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about what it means to be a mom on this Mother's Day. It's not that I would truly know, but it's what I've experienced with the moms that have impacted my life. To be a mom means to have love for others that transcends any tangible emotion that we may have experienced. A mom's love is stronger than any force known or unknown in the universe. To be a mom is to sacrifice her own comfort to ensure that those around her do not suffer, even the slightest. To be a mom is to stay up later, give up more of herself for the safety and well-being of her family. To be a mom means to happily bypass her own goals and dreams to take on the goals and dreams of the people she loves, and then to experience true pride at the realization of those goals and dreams. To be a mom means to live a life that no longer belongs to her, but belongs to the family unit, and to tie her existence to the successes and or failures of that family. I could easily continue to speak on the virtues of what a mom is made up of, but it would take an eternity to express my gratitude. I would just end by saying, thank you, moms, from the bottom of my heart. I hope that everyone has the opportunity to show the moms of the world our love and appreciation for all that they have done and will continue to do for all of us. Happy Mother's Day. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
Today we're going to be doing a little something in recognition of tomorrow being Mother's Day. Today, Caroline's going to go through and tell you guys a little bit about her birth story.
And the wonders of pregnancy and the birth story. Now, everybody always, I love watching birth stories and pregnancy stories online, and my birth story happened a long time ago. So, I guess I watch the ones that people put out, and they're always talking about how beautiful and wonderful the experience was, and I didn't find it that great and beautiful. It was a means to an end. That was all it was. And so I guess I'll start at the beginning. I found out I was pregnant on Memorial Day, and I had been sick or not feeling well, going to bed early and that kind of thing for a couple weeks before that. And we had not planned on having children. I had no desire at the time. I was very young. I was 23, and so it was something that we hadn't even. I mean, we knew that we wanted children one day, but one day was a long way away. So I found out I was pregnant, and I think I just threw the pregnancy test at you. It was like, look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you thought that I was going to respond well to the.
I mean, I knew that you would support me and all that,
of course,
but yeah, this was not something that we were not in a time of our life that we were ready to calm down. We were having a good time, and anyway, so found out I was pregnant, immediately was sick, constantly sick. And Memorial Day was the middle of May. And
Memorial Day was when Memorial Day is.
Well, it's in the middle of May.
Right.
So by the end of May, I was having these horrible pains, and I had gone to the hospital, like the emergency room, like 3 or 4 times. Horrible pains on my side. And finally, we went, and my OB doctor, they did some ultrasounds, and they thought that my appendix looked odd. And so, but he wasn't sure. So a family friend of ours, who's a surgeon, went into surgery with my OB doctor, and it was exploratory, and they found a tumor on my ovary, which they had to remove. But they cut me hip to hip, pregnant.
Yeah, and you know.
That was horrible.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that, you know, it's bad enough when somebody you care about and love is having surgery, but in this situation, two people I loved were having surgery, her and the baby, and so it was so scary to be sitting in that waiting room. And I remember them telling me that when they cut her open, they had to take Grace,
who was just a little like,
she's a fetus, she's
a little rice, like tiny little,
well, whatever size she was, but they took her and set her to the side while they dug out whatever was the cyst on her ovary, and then they popped her back in and sewed her back up.
yeah.
But yeah, that was scary.
So, and then healing while your belly is growing was not a good combination either. So, I was sick the entire time, threw up every single day. There is no ending at the first trimester, no ending at the second trimester. I ended up having a migraine for a month and a half.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was just, every minute of being pregnant was hell. So now we get to January. Well, and we never found out we tried to find out the sex of the baby. They never could. She never was laying right until mid-December. I had an ultrasound, and they were finally able to find out that we were having a girl. And my due date was in February, towards the middle of February. And
don't forget that important part of the story is I was working out of town, so she's doing the majority of this suffering without me there. So
and yeah, and
just the weekends. I was home on the weekends.
yeah, and so on January the 5th, I woke up that morning, and I had strained really hard on the day before. I had so Friday.
What do you mean you strained very hard?
Let's not get into anything.
Oh,
let's
boy.
not even go there.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, so Tuesday, Curtis was out of town. He left town Monday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. Tuesday, I wake up and I'm on the phone with I wet myself a little bit. So I was on my phone with my friend, and I'm like, I am peeing on myself constantly. And she's like, maybe you need to call the doctor. So called the doctor, got an appointment, went to lunch, and then my friend met me at the doctor's office, and they said, you're not peeing on yourself, your water's leaking. So they had to test to make sure that
you
I
make
had...
it sound like, you needed a plumber under the house. Your
Well,
water's
I kind
leaking.
of did. I mean, it was...
Yeah, a little more than a plumber.
And let me tell you, there was a couple of things that I was so afraid of the entire time I was pregnant. One of that was soiling myself in any way. Well, no, that was the two fears, that I was my water was going to gush out and it was going to be all over me, and that I was going to poop on the doctor during labor. Those were my two horrible fears of the whole thing.
I wonder if doctors have stories where they've been pooped on.
They do. That's what gave me the
my
thing,
goodness,
the
really?
fear of that. And
no
there
wonder
was
they make so much money.
Yeah, and there was
That's
no
why-
YouTube
that's
or
why-
anything to
That's
help
why
you
doctors and plumbers make so much money.
with it. Yeah. So,
Because they're the only two professions you can get pooped on.
oh my goodness, that's awful. So, and that those fears. Okay, so anyway, so they admit me to the hospital. We immediately call Curtis and tell him that I am in labor.
Mm.
So he rushes home, and all this comes to light later, what this story is. Side
talking
story there. So they admit me to the hospital and induce my labor. Well, back in the old days, when my mom had a baby, they would give you an enema to clean you out really good.
Mm-hmm.
And
So the doctor wouldn't get pooped on.
so the doctor wouldn't get pooped on. Well, that was my biggest fear. So I was thinking, well, just give me an enema to, clean myself out and everything will be good. But oh my God, don't do that. Don't ever do that if you can help it. Because it was a bucket of soap suds.
Oh.
And it was the most horrific event of my life. It was painful. I was throwing up. I was everything was coming out of everywhere. It was not
Okay, so
a good experience. So I think you came in right as that horrific experience was ending, because I remember crying and you walking in. So I had been sober. Now when I say this, we were having a good time. We used to drink and all that and have party and all that.
yeah.
So I had an idea. Another little fear was the epidural. So I had this bright idea that I would get me a little shot of pain medication, feel a little bit loopy, and
Popped out.
and then get the epidural, and I wouldn't be scared for the epidural or whatever. So they gave me some pain medication, and it sent me into La La Land. I mean, it was, it knocked me out. And so when I woke up, because I was induced, I wasn't feeling contractions really bad. They were happening, but I wasn't really feeling them. I wasn't in pain. I woke up from being knocked out by the Stadol to being in full labor. I mean, it hurt so bad. It was horrible. So then I had to lean over and be still during contractions while they stuck a needle in my spine.
Yeah,
That was like,
that epidural is no joke, man.
yeah. And I was scared that I was going to be paralyzed and all this
Yeah,
kind of
because if
stuff.
they mess that thing up, they can mess you up.
Yeah, and so they're like, oh, you got to lean over the bed or lean over the side of the bed, and no, it was horrible. It was not fun. So this is about 10 o'clock that they give me the epidural. So
On the 5th.
on the 5th,
Right.
about 11:30, and they induced my labor on the 5th at 6 o'clock. So the first pains I felt were the 10 o'clock when I woke up from being knocked out by the Stadol. Epidural, then I laid there for about an hour and a half, pretty comfortable, but I could feel them in my back. I could feel these pains in my back, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, it was just a little bit uncomfortable, but I could feel it. So they come in, and the nurse checks me, and she's like, oh, you're about halfway there. You're at 5 centimeters. She takes her glove off, throws it in the garbage, turns the light out, walks out the door, and as the door closes, it felt like a bomb went off in my body. It was just electricity and just zoom. I mean, just this bombing off. And I was like, I'm holding this baby in me. I feel like I've got to push. I'm holding this baby in me. So the nurse comes back in. She thinks I'm nuts because, I mean, she just, you know, the woman thinks I'm just stupid. She examines me again and says, you're at 10 centimeters. I dilated 5 centimeters like that.
Apparently.
So then I'm like, I can feel everything. I need more epidural before this happens.
There ain't gonna be time.
Well, they did. They ended up giving me a little bit more juice.
And the medicine.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I did not feel a thing. The only way I knew that I needed to push was they had attached something apparently to the top of Grace's head, and it was attached, or I don't know where they attached it. It wouldn't have been her head, but they attached something inside of me, and it was on my my leg, and I could feel that vibrate. And that's how I knew when to push, was this vibration, and I don't know how I felt it.
I mean, you weren't like,
I was numb.
you're numb in the right places, but not
It was like, I don't know how I felt it.
Yeah,
So, anyway, so I'm like, feel like I've got to push. The doctor, literally, I pushed before the doctor got there once. I pushed as he was coming in. He came in, put his gown on, put his gloves on, and I was pushing as he turned around and sat down, and out she came. I pushed 3 times. There she was, and they were like, if you ever have another baby, you're going to be one of these that have it in the car on the way to the hospital. So I did have a good, nice, easy birth story, and Grace was early. She was very early.
And she was tiny.
She was teeny-tiny. She was...
What's the cutoff? It was 5 pounds, right?
No,
for
it was...
preemie?
It was under 5, so like 4, or maybe... She was 4...
when a baby is born, they weigh a certain weight, but a lot of it is like, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like moisture or something.
I don't know, because
But once the baby comes out and is out for a very short period of time,
they lose weight. You always
ounces of weight.
Yeah, because when we left
It's
the
like
hospital,
they're waterlogged. You know, they've been floating around in.
It's never been described like that.
Well,
but they're getting constant nutrients.
You know,
and now
I'm
not
talking
getting...
to the few men that might actually be watching this. That's about the best I can explain it.
They're waterlogged.
And if you had kids,
weight.
everybody who's had children know that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, okay. So when she was born, she was 4 pounds, 14 ounces, and when we left the hospital, she was 4 pounds, 11 ounces. So she didn't lose a whole lot.
But she had a set of lungs on her.
But she did not have to go in the NICU at all. She was right on the line. She was a little bit under it, but they felt she was completely,
everything
which was
else,
miraculous.
all her vitals were super strong.
Yeah, which was so great because she was early. I had actually gone to the doctor and they had said that she was weighing 7 pounds, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'll have a 50-pound baby, you know. But they missed that.
Well,
so
yeah, they don't get it all right.
No. So anyway, so that was okay. So now the next part of my birth story. So as I am, my best friend was there, and Curtis decides to tell his mother at that time that he was so hungover and that he was about to die the entire time. And tell your story about this.
Well, I mean, this is my birth story. But no, what done happened was, what happened is, the whole time that I was, let me back up just a minute. When we got married, I used to drink, you know, not terribly bad, but I drank a lot. And up until my bachelor party, I drank, you know, every day or every other day a little bit of beer. But at my bachelor party,
a little bit of beer, okay.
Anyway,
and a lot of liquor.
But at my bachelor party, my friends supposedly they overserved me, and I just got.
So needless to say,
I hadn't drank. Let me finish. You wanted me to tell it, then let me finish telling it. So anyway, the night before she goes into, you know, early labor, I finally, all the other times that the guys had tried to talk me into going out drinking with them, I had said no. This time on
Monday,
the 4th, Monday night the 4th, I let them talk me into going out and drinking with them. And I hadn't drank the whole time we'd been, you know, pregnant, or she'd been pregnant. I hadn't drank at all.
That I know of.
Oh, I couldn't. Remember, it used to make me sick.
Yeah.
And so, and this was no different. I was horribly ill. I was so ill that when we went to work that Tuesday morning, that my boss, as angry as he was, he sent me back to the hotel room because I was in really bad shape. And then he comes knocking the door down a couple hours later telling me that she was in labor, and we were an hour and a half away from where we live in South Carolina. We were in a town an hour and a half away, and that man drove 120 miles an hour all the way down the interstate, getting me back to the hospital where she was.
And I'm so thankful that Bill got him to me safe.
And he was having to stop every 10 minutes and let me throw up. But then I got back and I maintained pretty well. She had no clue until I was walking with my mom and her best friend to go get some food, and I told my mom what had happened, and then her best friend.
Okay, then now Grace was born at midnight at 12:06 on the 6th, so barely on the 6th was she born. I was induced at 6 o'clock, so I did not have a long 6 hours. It was wonderful. So I slept until about 4 o'clock that morning. 4 o'clock that morning, I jumped up and I was like, you know, let's get Grace from the nursery. I was like trying to be super mom. And so about 8 or 9 o'clock, Curtis goes home to take a shower, and my best friend comes and then tells me the story that she had overheard.
Home wrecker.
And so
She's a
then
home
I
wrecker.
sit there for the next like 4 or 5 hours because he didn't go home and take a shower. He went home to go to bed after
I took
hadn't
a
even
shower.
after I didn't even have a nap.
All
after
you did was have a baby. I mean, come on. Just kidding.
So
Just
that was,
kidding.
You know, all these people have these beautiful birth stories and pregnancy, and I love being pregnant. I have never met someone who truly feels that way. There were several of us that had babies at the same time. Not one of us were thinking about how beautiful it was. And now looking back on it, I can, you know, look
What do
at
they
it
say?
like I have brought life into this world, and it was beautiful and wonderful, the miracles of birth and everything. But the reality of it is it sucks. It's a means to an end. Now,
It's gross and painful.
you
and
lose all
hard
sense of
and emotional.
you lose all sense of modesty, because before I got pregnant, you know, I never got sick in front of you, really. And I mean, we were in love and, you know, making a life together. But once I had that surgery, it was gone. I mean, it was gone. And it just kind of killed the romance of everything, didn't it?
Well, no.
But anyway, so that's my birth story. And but let me tell you just a real quick thing about being a mom for me is before Grace came along, it was, you know, you talk about different chapters in your life and different, you know, for me, it was a whole different book. Before Grace was born, I was selfish, and I mean, I wasn't a bad person, I don't think, but, you know, I didn't I put myself ahead of others often, so yeah, I'm selfish. You know, I never wanted children, never liked children that much, but then when she came, it was like this part of my heart just opened up or bloomed, or, you know, I never knew that I could love somebody or like that. You just don't know that love. And I'm so thankful that even as hard as things were at times and as bad as things seemed, we were so lucky. We had a healthy baby. We had a healthy child. She is a good child, or, well, she's not a child anymore. She's a good person. She's a good adult, young adult. She's never given us true trouble. A little mouthy sometimes, but that's it. She's nothing like I was when I was a teenager. And I'm so thankful, and I'm so thankful for the life that you have provided for us and allowed me to be this mom. So thank you.
I love you, baby. Well,
What is that called?
Yeah.
PDA.
yeah, PDA. But anyway, guys,
I cry in every one of these.
She's such a crier. But
It's happy to.
you know, we appreciate you spending this time with us. We wanted to take this time and tell this story because it kind of falls into place. Well, it completely falls into place with tomorrow being Mother's Day. So, you know, it's very important for you guys to recognize the moms around you. Not just your mom, but all moms deserve our undying love and respect. And, you know, make sure that you make them feel as special as they are to us and to the world and what they've done, because without moms, we wouldn't be here.
That's true. And I just want to give a shout out to my mom and to your mom and to my grandmother for being such wonderful women and such good influences on our lives. So
Absolutely, I second that emotion. And we thank you for coming along. Remember, guys, we want to keep on doing this, so drop a comment down below.
And we've got some exciting stuff coming up in the next few weeks, so I look forward to sharing our upcoming plans. So
Absolutely. So remember, guys, be happy and stay strong.